The old lie, dulce et decorum est, pro patria mori. This is how the English poet Wilfred Owen ends his poem, a poem about war, about life, about death. The Great War redefined the modern era. It ended a generation, it started a new one. In only 4 years, well over 40 million people were casualties of war. Soldiers, civilians, volunteers, workers, families, no one was safe from this chaos. It is always easy to depict a bad guy during wartime, especially in the Second World War, where the fascist regimes of Germany, Japan and Italy carried war atrocities around the continents. But what about the First World War? Both sides in the battlefield believed they were fighting for a good cause, for freedom, for glory, but instead the average soldier was just spending nights in mud and swamps, hoping to survive the next morning. There is no hero during wartime. There is no saint with a monster or a Leonfield in his hands. There is no good guy. Hello to everyone, Blue Fox here, and today I wish to share my thoughts on the amazing indie game made by Aardman and Digixart Studios, 1111 Memories Retold. A game that is elegant and modest in its presentation, and that it was able to tell a convincing story about two men during the First World War. This is not a review, but rather a discussion about why I believe this game to be a piece of art. Before I start, I wish to clarify that there are no major spoilers in this video, but if you really want to explore this hidden gem without any background information or any visual minor spoilers, then feel free to come to see this video once you play the title yourself. In addition, all opinions expressed in this video are fully personal. Feel free to agree or disagree as you wish. I would love to hear your opinions down in the comments. Without any further introduction, let's get started. Before discussing the plot of Memories Retold, I think it would be wiser to talk about the artistic direction of the game, since it is the first major impact for the player when he or she sees the game for the first time. As you see from the video, the game looks like an impressionist painting, something that would be drawn by Claude Monet, Vincent van Gogh, Edouard Manet, or many other amazing artists from the time. Personally, I think it's very similar to Eugene Baudin's style, but I'm not an expert in the field, so please correct me if I'm wrong. The art style the developers adopted is truly unique and innovating. Even if at first it may seem a bit disorienting and blurrish, after a brief while it's very easy to overcome these distractions. The game does a wonderful job of incorporating this art style as much as possible, being creative during astonishing sceneries and make transitions work sublimely. But even if the game looks beautiful and tranquil, it does not detract from the violence of war. The video game is not gory, but it does draw no man's lands full of bodies and lost lives. The graphics connect the war with peace, and is able to enhance the idea that nothing in war is good or bad, but rather is a mix of paint that makes the world as it is. As stated in the introduction, in war there are more than just soldiers fighting. 1111 conveys the story of two different characters that find themselves enlisted in the Great War. Henry is a young Canadian photographer that wishes to become a hero to impress a girl, and Kurtz is an old engineer that is searching his lost son Max in the battlefield. None of them are fighters, but still find themselves in the Western Front in active battles. Without going too much details, both men find each other and need to collaborate to progress through their stories. There are many things about the plot that highlight the creativity and the out-of-the-box thinking abilities of the people who wrote the story. First and foremost is the decision of the roles depicted in the narrative. Photographers are a huge part of modern history. They were and are crucial to visualize the past, documentate important events, and show the world the atrocities of war. Yet hardly ever are they depicted or shown in media. The only example that comes to mind is Irene Ellet from Valkyria Chronicles, but apart from her, photographers are yet to be remembered from their courageous actions. Mechanics and engineers also played an important role in wartime, both in the fabrication of weapons at home and the reparation of manufacturers in the field. It's a bit more common to see them in video games and in art, but they are still quite unrepresented and full of potential to use. What I also find amazing in the plot is the fact that both sides are represented realistically. I touched upon the idea before that during wartime there are no evil nations, but people that suffer in the chaos. In 1111 Memories Retold, this concept is fully kept during the narrative. When talking to soldiers, you rarely hear them excited to fight. You usually hear them scared and frightened. Most of the men in the battlefield think about home, about their wives, they think about their families, and think how futile is this war to them. In the game's plot, there is no villain. Even the worst actions are still caused by war traumas and insanity rather than the pure desire to harm. This level of humanity given to all characters truly makes this video game realistic and empathetic. A friend of mine told me that a good story about war should never assume the enemy to be a soulless killer, since the people who fight the war are humans, and not animals. The final point I wish to discuss about the plot is the decision the players can make. Most games have decision trees, a gameplay element that presents the player with many alternative events and shapes the main plot differently. 1111 uses decisions in a very simple yet effective way. During the course of the campaign, there are no decision dialogues, but rather visual and reflective ones the player can take. As Harry, for instance, you are able to photograph whatever you wish from the war. Ammunitions, tanks, planes, animals, flowers. There is no right or wrong decision here, but only yours. With Kurt, meanwhile, you get to decide what to write home about and what to tell your young daughter. You can give her hope or make her smile, writing about the events of the day. The decisions do not have a direct impact on the game. The main plot will remain the same. However, these small decisions add so much charm to the narrative. It makes you feel so good to know that your actions have a small effect in the character's story and that you are not forced to take them at all. In conclusion, 1111 Memories Retold was able to tell a convincing story, full of splendid views and charming moments. The Great War will always be remembered as one of the greatest human disasters, but what Memories Retold do is not to highlight the mistakes made in the past, but rather to learn and build new hope. Art is defined as human expression, and I'm not too sure if there is a better word to describe this game. We shall not sleep, through poppies grow in Flanders fields. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is a very small channel as you may see, so if you wish to give me a hand, give this video a like and share it with your friends. And of course, subscribe for more context. I would really like to hear your opinion of the game down in the comments, and please give me feedback to improve this channel. Thank you again so much for watching, and I wish you a very good day.